What's up, y'all? This your girl Jay Renee with Prison Riot Radio. I hope that you're doing well. On the phone this evening, I have a brother on the phone by the name of Wayne Cooper. He says that he's wrongfully convicted. So we're going to speak with him, find out what led up to his wrongful conviction, and find out what's going on with him now and what he might need from us. So let's jump right into it. All right, good evening, brother. How you doing?
How you doing? I'm doing fine.
All right. We're going to jump right in there and get started, okay?
Okay.
So tell the people a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
My name is Wayne Cooper. I'm a single dad of 3 boys, and I'm originally from Washington D.C. Grew up there, went to school, and I took some college courses at Howard University. I'm a nurse. I'm a licensed practitioner nurse, and I just got wrongfully accused of a crime that I didn't commit.
Okay. How long have you been incarcerated?
I've been incarcerated now going on 17 years.
Okay. I know you said you have 3 sons. How has it been in raising them and not being present?
It hasn't been easy, but I tried my best to stay in their lives, call, talk to them, write letters, draw pictures, and stay communicating with them to let them know that their dad loves them, no matter what the circumstances may be. I try to continue education back here while I'm incarcerated, to also show them that, no matter what the circumstances may be, you can still overcome certain things. You don't have to succumb to your environment. You can still rise above, even though, the situation may look bleak right now. But I always just try to keep positive influence with my boys.
Okay. I'm sure they can definitely appreciate your efforts in that. So I want to talk to you about your wrongful conviction. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about it and let everybody know what happened. So just start from the beginning, bruh. Paint the picture for us, how you ended up incarcerated.
No, it was how it all began. It was one Saturday morning. Me and my brother was getting up. We was getting ready for work in Sumter, South Carolina, and I was on my way to work, and my brother called me and told me that his car couldn't start. So I was on my way there to help him to get his car jump started. And when I came in the neighborhood, everything just kind of looked normal, but something it just didn't look right. But after we got his car jumped, we left and went on to work. So later that evening, we got off from work and we came back. Came back to this neighborhood, and everything still looked normal. And I picked his kid's mom up, and they came to my residence across town. And we later on the news, I say around on the 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock news, we seen there was a shooting in the neighborhood, and they gave a description of a vehicle, but it was nowhere near my brother's vehicle. When they gave the description, it was kind of like the same color, but it wasn't the make and model. So some days that went by, we continued, me and my brother, everything still, as usual. And I think on the 5th of September in 2006, the police came. We got off from work and came to my residence, and the police was lying in wait for us. And when we got out the car, they just kind of surrounded us, jumped out, had us under arrest, no shoulders, no arrest warrant, didn't tell us what was this all about, gained entry to my house. They went searching, rumbling through things, and when I asked for a search warrant, one of the officers, I got to go get it, ran out, left. They locked us up, took us to the station. Then they told us that he was involved in a murder. Now, you know, like he didn't. I'm trying to figure out what was it about. I mean, you know, how did they get this? And they said they had a witness saying that they seen our vehicle. So the whole time that we was after the interview with us, they put us in the county jail. They didn't do a lineup, a photo lineup. You know, they didn't take no statements. No, it wasn't no statements recorded. The officer actually wrote the statement. You know, he said that I gave it to him, but I didn't even say nothing to him. And they just told us that they just told us that we were just going to be there for a minute, you know, and end up, you know, it turned out to be this, like we was locked up for this crime. So ever since then, I have been fighting since 2006 for my innocence. With this case.
All right, so so tell me about the more about the officer as far as you can. Is like for him to come up with this fictitious statement, is that something this person has been known for? Is that, you know, like, is that the beat on the street? Like, what's up with that, if you can even answer?
I don't really know because the representation, the lawyers that I had, they, you know, it's like they didn't do no investigation. Like, they didn't do no investigation on these officers to see if this is something he's known for doing. But you know, because I wasn't from the state of South Carolina, that everything just seemed like it took a turn for the left because the lawyer didn't do no work. It was like they were just trying to get a conviction because two brothers from D.C. within South Carolina got accused of something, and they just kept taking it a step further. They just kept putting things on us that wasn't even real.
Right.
Just when the officer, like when you're speaking about the officer with the statement, when I was sitting before him, first of all, when they brought us in the station, they didn't take us to a regular interrogation room. They took us to this floor that nobody was on. Like looked like it was being renovated. Like it was no other officers. The lights was half on, half off. Looked like they were doing work on the floor. Now my thing is, you know, me and my brother was afraid. I was a young man then. I was like 28 years old.
Right.
So I'm thinking like, you know, they're gonna take us on this floor and try to do something to us. So he takes me in his room and he just sit down and he's talking to me. My cell phone goes off. It's my ex-wife at the moment.
Okay.
And I asked him, can I answer the phone? And he tells me, go ahead, answer the phone. So as I'm trying to get my ex-wife off the phone, he's talking and I'm talking, but I'm talking on the phone. He's talking. I can hear him talk. Yeah, I can hear him talking. But he's writing something down. He's writing on a pad. So once I hurry up and got my party off the phone, he says, well, is there anything you'd like to tell me? I told him, I said, no, I don't have nothing to tell.
Right.
So he said,
I'm listening.
Oh, yeah, and he says, he tells me, after I told him I didn't have nothing to say, he says, so what you told me in the house was you was getting ready for work. Your brother called you and say that his vehicle couldn't start, and he needed a jump start, and you headed over to his house, and you jump started his vehicle, and then y'all got to work. I said, yeah, that's exactly what happened. So he shows me a piece of paper with them exact words on it, like about 2 or 3 lines. So he said, okay. So he slides the paper. He said, well, if this is correct right here, he said, well, then I just need you to just put your signature right here. Now he points to 2 lines he points to 2 lines for me to sign. So I'm me not paying attention to the lines that he's pointing to. I just scribble on the line, and he said, "Well, don't worry about it." He said, "You're not under arrest. You and your brother is not really a suspect." He said, "We just want to take you down to the county, get your fingerprints. Now, if you leave the state, now you will be considered a suspect."
Okay.
Okay. So after we get up from that, we go out. They put us in the car. They take us down to the county jail to get the fingerprint. So as soon as we get there, he pulls out his paper out of his folder. It's a full-blown statement. So I'm like, where did that come from?
Right.
He said, "Oh yeah, you gave it to me." I didn't. And I told him, I said, "I didn't give you that." So my brother looking like, "Are you serious? You gave him?" I said, "No, I did not. That man did not." I said, "That's not the paper I was just looking at." And this was the statement that he entered into the case, saying that I gave him a full statement of a confession. But you have me, you don't have me under no recording devices. Like you didn't record none of this. You don't have me on audio. You don't have me video. And the officer who was there didn't even hear me say anything. That stood outside the door when I was in his office talking to him. So, when I tell people this, when I mention this to attorneys and to people, they seem as though like this type of stuff don't happen.
Right.
Like officers just don't make up false statements to falsely convict people. And
yeah, they definitely do. I know. The other day when we was talking about how it can be particularly harsh down south, especially when somebody from up north comes in their area and they feel like they've done something wrong or in the wrong place at the wrong time. They're extra harsh with it because they got this kind of chip on their shoulder, like, how dare you come down here and try to do this type of thing, and more often than people realize, there are officers that do the wrong thing. Not everybody that becomes an officer is a stellar and impeccable integrity. You have officers that plant evidence. You have officers that tell lies and write false statements. We have officers that do the wrong thing when they think no one is looking. We continue to see that time and time again with video recordings of things happening and things coming out of the woodworks. So we definitely understand that can happen. And for those that don't understand, we're here to let you know that kind of thing does happen. I want to talk a little bit more about your legal representation. So you had a public defender?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you felt... Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
I'm listening to you.
I thought you was going to expand on that.
Well, yeah, I'm going to expound a little bit. Well, the legal representation that I had, this public defender, he was known in that town for, his good work that he does. I guess he had something like 30 something years of experience. He was on both sides. He was a public defender, and then he was a prosecutor at one point in time. So he was very well rounded. Well, when it came to my case, it seemed as though he had some type of I'm not he just wasn't he didn't have me in his best interest, for better words, because I told him certain things and he didn't do no investigation. I gave him witnesses to go talk to. He didn't talk to none of the witnesses. I gave him the supervisor to go speak to the supervisor to verify the morning that we was there at work, and it was impossible for us to be in one county when the crime happened in another county. at that time, and furthermore, and like I told him, I said, well, why don't you do the video? Why don't you do the video footage to show the distance from my brother's neighborhood to the job, so people can see on camera, on live footage, to see how far the distance is, how many traffic lights, and it's impossible for me to get from a drive that would normally take you anywhere from 30 to almost 40 minutes to get to under 22 minutes. That is impossible because the highway that goes that direction is very twisty and turny. If you was to go over 100 miles an hour, you would definitely get killed in a car accident. The way the road is designed. So when we was going through trial, and I was talking to this lawyer, I told him, I said, well, where's the alibi footage? The police keep saying that they have the alibi footage, and they keep saying that they got it, that they showing us in the parking lot at this late time. So he said he didn't make a response, but the police said it during the pre-trial. So when I'm talking to him, I told him that, I said, well, if they edit the video and try to put it and try to change the timestamp, it's either two things going to happen. You're either going to take the timestamp out and have us on video, and then they're going to try to explain the time, or they're going to correct the time, and then it'll take us all the way out the footage. So when I told him this, which I should have been quiet, but I told him thinking that he has my best interest, he had to go back and tell the state, because the next following month when we went back to court, the video, the state came back and said the video was destroyed. Now, all before, they kept saying that they had the video, but after I made that statement to my attorney, now the video all of a sudden magically it disappeared.
Right.
That can prove that can prove that me and my brother was there at the scene of the crime.
That's outrageous.
Also too, with him, now this is the crazy thing. Now, he's my attorney. At the end of the trial, we finished interviewing everybody. He calls the officer, the one that wrote the falsified statement. He calls this officer to the stand. He gets him on the stand. This is just before the jury is supposed to deliberate. When he puts the officer on the stand, he says, he goes along and says this. He says, he asked the officer, how long have you worked for law enforcement? The officer tells him 30 years. He said, how long have I known you? The officer says, about 20 years. He said, have I ever known you to tell a lie? And the officer says, no. He said, I rest my case. And when he came back, I asked him, what was that? Because literally, you just sit right there and vouch for this officer, like right in front of everybody.
Right.
Like what? Like, yeah. Like,
it's like
what
he was working for them or something.
Yes.
Wow.
So, that's where I say the system failed me, as far as, a person who don't have a criminal record. Because when they pulled my criminal record, they didn't have none for me. And now I have a murder charge on my record when I didn't have one before I went into the court. It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. It was guilty, and I had to prove myself to be innocent. But I mean, it didn't make sense.
Yeah, most definitely. So tell us where you are now in the process. Have you done an appeal? Like, what's going on as far as that's concerned?
Because I was getting inadequate, they kept assigning me inadequate lawyers in every process that I kept filing, and for my post conviction, they gave me an inadequate attorney. They gave me a guy that was known for, we call them ambulance chasers, people who get in car accidents.
Okay.
He go represent them. Yes. So they gave me an ambulance chaser for attorney for my post conviction. Well, when we got in post conviction, he definitely didn't do no investigation. Only thing I can give him is he did one scale about the time, distance, and speed of me getting from my brother residence to the job. Because that's in his field. You know, he deals with car accidents, so
okay.
That's what he knew to do. But when it came to getting down into, you know, how did the case went about and all the wrongful stuff that that transpired, he couldn't do that, and I lost my post conviction. So me just keep trying to fight, trial and error on my own with no help of legal representation. I tried to file a couple of things. They gave me more attorneys that did not know what they was doing. The next attorney that they gave me, this guy didn't even, they gave me this attorney that really didn't work for a law firm. This guy didn't even, I had my mom to look him up and we couldn't even find him. But the state awarded him to me as my attorney, but he didn't work for a law firm at all. So when I went in to challenge this, they would not let me fire my attorney. The attorney general, he knew that I wasn't too much aware of how the law transpired in South Carolina. So he got up and said, he granted me something in part, but he did not let the judge proceed on. He cut the judge off and had me rushed out of the courtroom because the proceeding had supposed to keep on going. But he cut the judge off and had me and say he was going to schedule it for another day, which that actually killed my appeal. So when I went to the next stage, I accidentally filed the wrong paperwork, and the higher courts responded back. I tried to tell the higher court that I'm not in your jurisdiction. I'm still open on the state level, but the federal court didn't want to hear that. So they denied my writ of certiorari.
Mm-hmm.
So now all my appeals are exhausted, and I don't have any appeals left to fight.
Okay. So what's the next step for you, bro? Like, how do we resolve this?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I don't know where to go from here. I've been reading. I've been looking at legal materials and just trying to see if there's any other avenue that I can kind of go back into the court with. But so far, I haven't found anything yet. So I just want to get my story out there to let people know that, you know, that I've been wrongfully convicted, and like this state they didn't really have their whole case against me was flawed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's to me, it's like I've been lynched from my family. I've been kidnapped and been lynched in this modern day time.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. We definitely want to get it circulated, bro. I hate to hear the hardships that you've been through. That's got to be a lot. I can't even begin to imagine. I know we don't have too much more time. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
Yeah, because during the ending of my trial, the police who did the initial arrest, while we sitting in the courtroom, he leans over, he gets my attention. He leans over at me, he looks at me, but I'm trying not to let the jury see my expression. He says this to me. He says, I know you and your brother like to watch that movie, Life, with Eddie Murphy and Martin. He said, now you are about to live it. And he chuckles and he leans back. Now, if anybody has any clue about that movie and what's the storyline behind that movie, Life, it was two guys from the North who got caught up and jammed up in a wrongful murder in the South. And they had been sentenced, they were sentenced to life without any witness or anything. So when this officer makes this statement to me, he's letting me know, yeah, we know you didn't do the murder. We know you didn't do the crime. But because you're not from our state, you about to do somebody's crime. That's basically what he was telling me in so many words.
How can people reach out to you, bro, if they want to be in contact with you for letters of support and things like that?
They can reach me. I'm not currently in South Carolina. I did an interstate compact. I'm in the state of Maryland. I'm at Roxbury Correctional at 18701 Roxbury Road, Hagerstown, Maryland. My DOC number is 469-184, and I'm in Housing Unit 4 and Cell 29. If anybody, have any want to, talk to me, want me to expound any more on the case, because I don't think I've fully told it like how everything else occurred, but I know we don't have enough time. So I will be back again.
Most definitely.
To explain more.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
You're definitely invited back, bro. You can come back as many times as you need to help the people understand what's going on with you, what's happened to you, and things like that. So you definitely are invited back. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Keep your head, bro. You are appreciated.